the longer you work, you should make more money. That's how most professions work. But as an NP, it doesn't always play out that way. Your NP pal here. Welcome to another conversation from the track. All right, so today I want to talk about the pay reality as an NP. All right, y'all. So for the month of May, I want to do a finance series because I don't know if this is just something that is not talked about enough. So on my channel, on my platform, I like to just be transparent and just talk to you about how things actually are in this NP role. All right, so when you first start, depending on where you were as an RN financially, like how much you made, it could actually be a significant jump. You know, if you were in the 30s hourly or 30s or 40s and then they bump you up to over 100, that could be a big jump for you. Or it could be the same, or if some of y'all were like myself, I actually took a pay cut. So it was rough when I first started because my pay went down and I was working a whole lot harder, a whole lot more, and it was more stressful. So that first year was rough because I was like, what did I get myself into? So I didn't get a raise that first year, so I started looking for another job. I found one, I put my notice in. Right before I left, my employer came back and he gave me a counter offer. Nice offer. It was a $40,000 bump. So I remember his words. This was in 2019. He told me, he was like, just so you know, because I was like entering my second year. He was like, this is the salary that somebody who's been working 5 to 10 years makes. And I remember his words because here I am in that almost 10-year range and I still basically make the same, which is very unfortunate. That is very unfortunate because we work so hard and these companies, these employers, they just demand so much of your time and your effort, your energy, of your life. And then they don't want to pay you. They don't want to pay you. So, yeah, so I look at the averages, I look at the numbers, you know, across the board, you'll see 110, 115, 120, depending on where you are. And that's still the same. It's still about that much. And then what they don't tell us is that there's like this silent cap or this invisible cap for your actual salary. Because, yeah, they're not paying us more. I mean, I'm still making the same amount 7 years later, and I'm in year 9. And so it can be frustrating, even discouraging sometimes, because you'll look on social media and you'll see these people, I make $300,000 a year and I only work 2 days a week, and that's remote. And you're like, are y'all hiring? Like, where do you work? Because trust me, like, so I'm not saying these are false, but y'all know social media things are more glamorous and things like that. Now, I don't doubt that some of these providers are making that much. Again, where do y'all work and what state are you in and things like that. But that's not the norm for everybody. That's not even the average. There's always going to be outliers for everything. So to be making that crazy amount of money and you're not even really working that hard, your basic salary, that's not common. That's not common at all. Okay, so don't get caught up in that facade that, oh, I'm going to be making this. Because that's where I was. Not from the social media aspect, but from where the providers were when I was in school. I mean, I was working in the ER and they were making $100 an hour. So I thought that's where I was going to start, and no, it was half of that, and then I just been slowly kind of working my way up. But that's another thing, because when I got that raise in my second year, I was thinking, oh, it's only gonna go up from here. No, I mean, I literally was capped out at my second year, and so I kept job hopping. I was going to different places looking for that higher number, and I never really found it. And then another thing you'll see on social media is that, because I'm in some of these Facebook groups and I'll kind of just browse through sometimes, and you'll kind of see people, oh, don't take anything less than 150,000. Oh, don't take. And I'm not against that, but it depends on where you are. You can't just say, oh, don't take this, don't take that, because you may be in a really bad situation, or depending on the area that you're in, because it's not just the employer, it's the area, cost of living in your place. Usually that's how it's supposed to go. If it's a higher cost, you should get paid more. I live here in Austin, and that's not the case, because the cost of living is high and the pay is still pretty low compared to other places that I've been. But that's not just general advice for everybody. So again, and you may be at a job where you're just trying to get out of there, and the first offer you get, you just take it. How do I know? Because I did that 2 or 3 times. It was so bad where I was, I'm out of here. Okay, so just kind of look at everything, but it's typically lower than what you are anticipating if you are brand new. Okay, and then again, I'm 9 years out, and so the idea is that, oh, with time it's just gonna go up. It doesn't. Not just for one place. So we live in the era, I don't want to say now, but almost every provider I know has a second job, sometimes 2 and 3. I have my main job. I have 2 PRNs, and one is a staffing agency. Staffing agencies, they can be good and bad, because there's some times where they just have a bunch of shifts, and then there's times where there's nothing. Like the staffing agency I'm with right now, I haven't got a call from them since November, and it's May. So those are kind of unreliable sometimes, but that's just where we are, unfortunately. Like, just one job is just not enough. And so I want to help you, because if you heard my story, I moved. Like, I packed up and I moved to New York from Texas for a number that in Texas, the number would have been nice, but in New York. And that's another thing. So when you see these numbers online, people saying, oh, I make this, I make that, don't take less than this, where are they? Because you may be in a state where there's no state taxes, but they may. And then again, after everything comes out, what does the check actually looks like? Like, that's the true thing. Because I was basically capped out here in Texas at 140. The job offer in New York was for 160. Now again, it was rough. So I did not know what I know now, and that's one of the reasons I have this platform. So I'm telling y'all, learn from my mistakes and things like that. I didn't calculate how much stuff was going to cost and state taxes and all that stuff, but it was 160. What I actually took home after taxes and insurance for a family of 4, it was like $95,000, somewhere around there, 93, 95. That's 60 grand. That's 60 grand. So you have to look at the entire package when you're about to take a job, because don't just look at the number. How many hours is this? And then you got to look at the pay structure. Like, how is this actually paid out? Because I've had jobs where you may have an hourly rate, but then they'll come back, oh, well, this part of your for these hours it's salary, but it's salary at like a lower rate, and then after you hit that number, then it becomes hourly, which is crazy. So with me saying the whole time thing, as far as number of years with doesn't always equate to higher pay. Now, I don't want to say but, I'm going to say however. However, I have worked for a place that did tiers based on number of years. But even that was a trap. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but I just want to show you how it was. So a new grad from like 0 to 2 years was like 60. From 2 to 5 was like 65. Tier 3, which is where I was, it was like maybe 3 to 7 or something, like, or 5 to 8 or something, was like 74. And then tier 4, which is the highest, was like 8 or 9 plus, it was like $78. So you could have 15 years and you only making this amount. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how low the numbers are. So it's frustrating because, again, when you're first starting, you're hoping and anticipating in the future, oh, it's going to be better once I get time and once I do X, Y, Z. It does not equate like that, unfortunately, okay? So I'm not trying to discourage. I do just want to inform, because if you're thinking one thing and you're hoping and you're job hopping and you're looking for that perfect job where it's just going to be, I'm going to say for myself, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Now, one good thing that time has, for one, I have the experience. I have the clinical framework. I know how to think. I know how to get to the point, get to the diagnosis and things like that. But also, I made myself more valuable. So I have a lot of certifications, DOT, ATLS, bunch of other things that has increased my value. So I do have a lot of job offers that come my way. So I get a lot of offers. It's just, I've job hopped so much in the past, I don't even want to think about. A matter of fact, I got something the other day. It sounded like pretty sweet, but just the fact that to start a whole new job right now, I just don't have it right now. But so you do become more valuable, and you do learn the system, how things work. And so as far as setting your personal boundaries, which I have another video talking about that. So now I'm just to the point where work is just what it is. It's not a thing to build wealth or anything like that. You're not gonna get rich at work or anything like that. But the jobs that I look for now is decreasing my stress level, where I'm not getting killed, because I realize I've worked in busy places and in places where it's not that busy and the pay is just about the same. If I had a choice, which I do, I'm gonna pick the less busy place. I don't want to have to do all this extra stuff and running around and stuff like that, because I've been in places where they do give you the run around. You're working your butt off and the pay is terrible. So I'm like, no way. No way. So it's not some exponential leap that you're going to get from an RN, honestly, because I know actually one of my friends, she's still an RN. Well, she has her NP, but she never left her RN job. She basically makes the same amount as me as an NP with her RN salary. So it's still some RNs still getting paid pretty well. So it's not always glamorous how you may see online and things like that. Again, because every time I see those, which is probably a couple times a day when I'm scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or something, where you'll see these people. But as far as the wealth and the high rates and things like that, usually you have to start a business. That's usually where that comes from. So, of course, when I see the entrepreneurs, I'm like, okay, yeah, right. Like that, okay, cool. Like, I know that's the route to go. But just a regular staff job, like $250, $300, that is not normal. It's not average. Of course, there's outliers like I mentioned. But, yeah, so just remember, you may end up with a second job. Honestly, that's kind of standard now, or picking up other places and things like that. A good kind of situation to be in is if your main job, if you can do, well, depending on the setup, but let's say if you're urgent care, find a place where the contract is like for 120 hours. That's like 3 12s a week. If that is the setup, that may be perfect. Or 10 12s or something like that, or 12 10s, depending on, like I say, that's like 4 10s a week. But you want something like that where you still have 3 or 4 days off during the week, and that way you can actually go pick up a side job. And then preferably if you can get a 1099 side job, because you already got your benefits and everything. So that's a better situation, because it's hard to pick up a side job when you are working Monday through Friday. Like, that's just tough, because that means you're going to give up your weekends and stuff like that, which we already don't have a lot of time off anyway. So just some tips for you, and just wanted to share how the pay really is in this role, unfortunately. All right, if you like this information, I do have additional finance videos coming for the month of May. Hit the like button and subscribe. As always, your NP Pal here. Think clearly, practice boldly, and I will see you on the next one.